Michael Rubin is coming for all of it, and he's not even being shy about it anymore. He's not even being shy about it anymore. Oh, man. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Retro Hoop Collectibles. If you're not in the know, and today is, what's today? September 30th? September 30th. Michael Rubin released a full-blown interview with CNBC. I don't want to say full-blown. It's maybe like 6 or 7 minutes. Where he's talking a little bit more in detail. I think it's the first time since the news that Topps had lost the license for MLB that's actually come out, and Michael Rubin has actually talked a little about it in depth, and some very interesting stuff got talked about during the interview. However, a lot was talked about, but yet not a lot was talked about. But one of the main things that he talked about was the collector's experience, right? Myself and you guys that are watching that collect. And the way he kind of talked about distributors, and the way he talked about LCSs and resellers and eBay, and it's almost like he talked about them with a little bit of disdain, sort of dismissive as to what they're doing in the market, and really labeled them as middlemen in the market, which is essentially what they are. I mean, let's be honest here, right? There's a reason why 50 to 60 grown men were lining up in sandals and pajama pants on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Target to buy a blaster box of a Prism, for $20, only to turn around and sell it for $80 on the market. But I think it's interesting that he's almost taken a direct shot right at those people, right? Because essentially what he's trying to do is create a straight to consumer system where he's saying, we're going to manufacture the cars. We're going to sell them straight to you. There's going to be no middleman, none of this distribution nonsense. We're not going to do any LCSs. We're not going to do any store distribution or anything like that. Much in the same way that they did with the apparel. I did a short video whenever it first got announced. I'll link it in the top, and I'll link it down in the description if you want to go back and watch that. My initial reaction to the news that Topps had lost their license after 50-something odd years, or I can't remember how long it was that they've had the license. But I think in that video I said, hey, don't be surprised if he comes for everything. Because it's well documented. He already has a lot of these relationships with these leagues and these players associations, and the players associations is the most important part. The fact that he has deals in place with both the league and the league's respective players associations is huge, because what that allows him to do is he owns the whole enchilada. There's no back and forth about whether or not players can go off and do their own thing, or contracts here and contracts there. It's the reason why I think it's who owns the Godwin or Goodwin. There's still Michael Jordan cards in there. I think it's Upper Deck, if that's the case. But what I find interesting is this idea of cutting out the middlemen, and he was not shy about talking about that. He referenced it as creating a streamlined collector's experience, which, in my opinion, hey, if it means that I'm able to jump on and buy product so that I can break it myself and have it myself and actually be able to collect, then I'm all for it, to be honest with you. I understand that there's going to be some pain there with LCSs not being able to remain in business and things like that. That has the severity of how much they're going to be affected is still yet to be determined. But if it's anything like they've been handling the apparel business, then you can best believe they're going to cut out quite a bit of those. And the guy from CNBC, I don't watch much CNBC, but he was pretty good in some of the questions that he was asking him, because one of the direct questions that he asked was about an M&A or a merger and acquisition with Topps directly and buying them out as a manufacturer. And so he kind of, Michael Rubin kind of dodged the question a little bit, and he's like, yeah, look, we do a lot of M&As all over, we do a lot of M&As all the time. And, he was kind of dodgy about, answering the question, but you can best believe that they're going to purchase one of those manufacturing facilities or one of those manufacturing companies, because that's kind of what they do, right? They come in and they take the license, which is the most important part, right? The IP behind everything, the intellectual property behind the actual team itself, as well as the players associations, which are the players themselves, right? So, if you come in and secure the licensing for those two things, then I don't care who's manufacturing it. You now own that license and you own the rights to manufacture. So what happens then is whatever current manufacturers they were working with become essentially, worth nothing. They have no value, because the reason why they were manufacturing is because they were working with the companies that had the license. They no longer have the license, and now they got to come to whoever has the license, hat in hand with their bowl of soup, with an empty bowl, asking for a bowl of soup. And so that's kind of the I guess, I don't know, I don't want to call it a shady part of the deal, because it's at the end of the day, it's business, but that's kind of the tough part of the deal, right? Is where he's come in and he's now secured not only the licenses for baseball and players, MLB Players Association, but also for the NBA and the NBA Players Association, the NFL and the NFL Players Association. And now these manufacturers are like, what are we going to do? What are we going to make? Panini has, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if you subscribe to Panini's newsletter, you'll notice the amount of UFC stuff that's been coming out on their behalf, and how they're really pushing, this idea of the UFC, the UFC, the UFC, the UFC. But I don't know if you guys follow MMA much, but there is an entirely new league that's currently being formed to try to combat some of the unfairness in the payment to these fighters that the UFC is kind of in hot water for at the moment. But that soon may shrivel away. We don't know. There's a lot of kind of up in the airs about that at the moment. But essentially, Panini within the next 5 years is not going to have really much to manufacture. And we already know that Panini has a relationship with Fanatics, because they were, releasing exclusive Fanatics stuff on their website. So there's some relationship there. If I had to venture a guess, I would imagine that they would work a merger and acquisition deal with Panini from a manufacturing standpoint. I think I mentioned that in the first video that I did a couple weeks back when this first came out. But this guy, what he's looking to come in and do is, make no mistake, he's looking to capitalize on it. They just got a $10 billion valuation for that company, just for the trading card piece of it. I don't doubt that they're going to do quite a bit of stuff with that. But whether or not it's going to be good for the hobby is all dependent on which side or what piece of the hobby you're in, right? My involvement in the hobby is a collector, right? I'm sitting here with stacks and stacks of cards. Like, I collect, I buy, I trade, I sell, this is kind of what I do. I love doing this because it's part of basketball, and I love basketball, and it's just an extension of a game that I have a lot of love and passion for, which is basketball. And so as a collector, I'm ecstatic to hear that this is going to be all put together under one roof, and that I'm actually going to have an opportunity at getting some product. I haven't ripped product in, I don't know, maybe... I honestly haven't ripped product that I paid for at Walmart since 2019, roughly. It's been years since I've ripped product that I've actually gone to the store and paid retail for. I've had to pay resale like the rest of us have been doing. And I would like to see that aspect of the collecting hobby, of the hobby, go away. Absolutely. Why wouldn't I? Why should I pay $150 for a blaster box when the retail price on it is $20? All because some asshole decided to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and stand in front of Walmart or Target, for 5 or 6 hours because he had nothing better to do while I actually had a job to go do. So it's really shitty, this whole idea of scalping and all that stuff. But at the same time, some of those guys are filling what is an underserved market, I suppose. It's worth $20, but really the market says it's worth 80, so they're going to do whatever they do to make whatever money they're going to make. But I think what Rubin's trying to do here, and Michael Rubin's trying to do here, is he's saying, well, hold on a second. That's not only is it a little bit, it's there's not a little bit of scalping going on. Scalping is all that's going on. Breaking is all that's going on, because the normal collector can't afford to buy boxes anymore. And it's no longer about the collector anymore. The collector is the last person in line before the distributors get them, the manufacturers get their money, the distributors get their money, the stores get their money, the scalpers get their money, and then finally the collector can get some product in his hand and enjoy it. Even hoops, which is meant to be the lowest of the low, the most retail of retail product, it's hard to get your hands on it. You can't get your hands on it, not at retail. And so it sucks. So I, for one, think that aspect of what's going on with this Fanatics deal is a good thing. I can't wait to get my hands on some product at retail price. But then again, that's such a loaded thing because who knows, what's going to happen to the distributors, what's going to happen to the local card shops, what's going to happen to, what's going to happen to eBay. I think, what was the number that I saw? Like $14 or $15 million last year just in cards alone, or billion or something. I mean, it was a massive, massive number that they sold last year in revenue just on baseball, basketball, and football cards alone. What's going to happen there, right? Because Michael Rubin made a comment, says, hey, we're looking to take over everything. We're going to manufacture, we're going to distribute, we're going to manufacture, we're going to sell directly to the consumer. We're also going to, involve ourselves in the grading aspect of things. We're going to also involve ourselves in the storage aspect of things. We're going to involve ourselves on the digital side and the NFTs and all that stuff. So he's looking to take over the whole thing. And again, this is a very polarizing thing because, the market is, or the hobby is, it's a big machine, right? That has a lot of moving pieces, and it seems like Michael Rubin and Fanatics are looking to try to cut out a lot of that stuff. And so, don't be surprised if they strike a deal with Panini as their manufacturing leg. I think I said that in the other video too. If they strike a deal with Panini, between Topps and Panini, we'll see. But then the other thing that I'm excited about too is the possibility of Topps Chrome basketball again. Or the possibility of, I don't know what other IP Topps owns, but, maybe the opening up of, maybe the return of some Skybox, or, there's so many things that can come out of this that's going to be good for the collector and not necessarily the good for the middlemen pieces of the hobby. So anyway, that's my thoughts on what's going on with that. I've been kind of holding off on doing a follow-up video with that, with Fanatics, just because there really wasn't a whole lot of information out there, or a whole lot hadn't happened since the announcement that Fanatics had secured those licenses. It's kind of just been pretty hush-hush since then. But again, Michael Rubin did that interview for CNBC. It's on his Instagram if you want to go look it up. It's about a 6 or 7 minute watch. It's pretty good. But I don't know. Those are my thoughts on it. What do you guys think? Do you think this is good for the hobby? Do you think it's bad for the hobby? Do you think that Rubin's just on a big money grab? Michael Rubin's just on a big money grab. I think it's pretty on, I guess, brand for him, right? Because obviously he owns Fanatics, but we'll see. We're still talking about 5 years away, so a lot can happen between now and then. And who knows? Maybe they work out some merger and acquisition deals to where to where this thing kicks off a lot earlier than we can expect. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And follow me on Instagram. Follow me on the Facebook groups. All that good stuff. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of videos coming out. Love y'all. Peace.